Hey everybody, welcome to my live stream. I'm Jim. Glad to have everybody here. We had a really good week last week with the stream, and we wound up with about, I think, 20 people, give or take, at the peak of the stream. And then we had about 60 some odd viewers during the week. So the stats on the video did pretty good. I am hoping to see a few people in here today, I hope. If not, we'll play it by ear in terms of how long we stay on, a half hour or 15 minutes, 2.5 minutes, or a couple hours. It didn't really take off until we were into the stream for a little bit. And other than that, we've had some crummy weather where I live. We've had nothing but rain for the last couple, 3 days, and it stormed like heck last night. So it was pretty rough. We had a lot of lightning, and I'm not sure. I haven't watched the local news to see if there was any damage or anything like that going on. But with that said, I wanted to bring you up to date on the week. I think I got stuff in my teeth, or at least that's the way I feel. I've been sitting here eating corned beef. I made some corned beef on the Traeger, the smoker, over the last couple of days. So we've had that to eat. But we have our Civivi, I can't say it, Civivi knife collection that we are going to be showing. And I did a check, and I've got about 11 knives. Well, I have 11 knives. It's not that I have about 11 knives, but I have 11 knives total. And this is kind of where I started. These are relatively inexpensive in the big scheme of things. Obviously, you guys know they're sister companies, and you got one tier higher and one tier lower, i.e. being WE and Sencut. But I like most of these simply because they got flippers on them. And for me, that allows me to use those a little bit better. Let me turn my comments on. I don't have that on in case somebody does show up. All right. Be nice if I can get some of the regulars in here. It would be really cool. So what I thought I'd do is go through the collection one by one, and then I have a surprise over here that I did a video, actually an overview of a little earlier this morning. And I picked that up on Blade Binge, I think is the name of the site. I get confused because they've renamed themselves a couple times here as of late. So at any rate, what we have is, let me set you guys up so you can see a little bit better. We got the overview. And I also can bring this. Let's see here. Yeah, I was looking to see if I could do this, but. So I've got it up on my screen so I can talk to you guys more intelligently than I have been in the past in terms of what's going on in terms of the names. So this is the first one out of the box, for lack of a better term. And I was a sucker for these big blades to begin with. And I like the stone wash or the wash blades back in the day. That's when I got started. It seemed to be what I kind of gravitated toward. But this is the Mini Mastodon, Mastodon, Mastodon. Got a hair floating around on my microphone. It's driving me absolutely apeshit crazy. But at any rate, it's a pretty cool little knife. And all these are relatively sharp, obviously. But that's a neat one. Then you come over here. I don't think I have to tell anybody what this one is. This is the Baby Banter. obviously. Let me scroll down because I'm horrible at these names, but Odonum, I think is the way you say this one. Odium, Odonum. This one does not flip as well. It does have a nice large finger choil. And actually, if you look at the banter, it does as well. And this is the baby banter. So these are all very comfortable. And these are great little user knives because they're inexpensive. This one's 58 bucks. This is probably one of the largest ones I have as far as Civivi goes. And this is the Sentinel Strike. I just love the blade shape on it. You got a huge finger choil on it as well. Again, we've gone back to our roots with the wash blade. I think most all these have got wash blades. This one's a button lock. And it doesn't have the best detent in the world. Of course, who am I to be talking about detents, right? I don't have enough experience. So then we go to the Bull Mastiff is the next one, which is very similar to this one. I mean, the blade shapes are almost identical. I swear that about the only thing they did is put this swedge in here and put a hole in this one. So this one looks more like a meat cleaver. And this one is exactly the same blade shape. But as you can see, they're both stone washed, which is what I seem to gravitate toward for some reason when I first started collecting. I see we got somebody in here. Good afternoon. Good to see you. This one, I don't know why I bought this one. I don't have any Damascus knives. This is the only one. It was reasonable. Let's see what the name of this one is. Elementa. Whoops, picked up the wrong one. So I know they make a lot of these in different variations. Howdy, man. Hey, Dwayne. How you doing? Mr. Letterman's on board. I was beginning to get a little nervous. Nobody was going to show up, and I was going to cry and go to bed. But I decided to stick it out and just go on with my format. And I'm doing a little bit better with the views after the fact, if that makes any sense in terms of content. Hope your weekend's been good. So I just wanted the Damascus just to try one. I've never had a Damascus knife before, but I will say out of all these so far, this is definitely the snappiest for sure. Then we go over to this one. Pyrex, I think is the way you pronounce this. Again, nice big finger choil. Stone wash again, basically. I think actually you can see a little bit of a satin in that. I don't think that's so much a stone wash as the others are, and all these knives are relatively small. But this is the one that I want to not tie-dye, color. Oh, okay, cool. I'm glad to say. Well, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, actually go back to the Damascus is definitely, I was surprised because it has a little bit of texture to it, but I think it's pretty darn sharp if I remember correctly. Not quite as sharp as I remember, but sharp enough for what I can do, which is cut myself, without a doubt. But I do like it a lot. And if I was to, probably go down that road again, I'd probably go ahead and jump into another Damascus with this particular brand, probably out of the Wii, because obviously that's the parent ship. Hey, I got a question for you, Dwayne, if you don't mind me asking. Would it be better if I push us off even another half hour to 5 o'clock? And that will allow, I don't want to mess up the other guys. Not that I can, but it'd be nice to think I could, I mean, I think that's kind of funny, but at any rate, hey, Gons, what's up, man? Appreciate you stopping in. I'm thinking about pushing this off another 15 minutes to a half hour so I don't run up against the other guys. Trying to find my niche in this world. So today, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I can do that. So we're going through the Civivi collection that I have. This is basically where I started my knife collecting, is with these guys. And I don't want to lose my mic, so let me find my picture mic. All right, that should be a little bit better for you guys to see. I hope you guys can still hear me. I think you can. At any rate, I mean, you can't really go wrong with these, and you put them in your pocket, and they're going to last forever. But hey, Blade Walker, how you doing, man? I appreciate you coming in as well. Starting to get a few people in here. I think I need to push my live out a little bit further. You could tell that I'm going pew, 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 pew. I'm trying to get things set up a little bit better. I've set up something a little different here too, a little different view. We were talking about the Damascus with the Civivi knives, and where I started my collections basically here. And then we just did the Pyrex, I think is the way you pronounce that. The Vision FG is one of my faves. And this is the one I was saying I was going to tie dye, but I'm not going to tie dye. I'm going to RIT dye it. What I want to do is take and do it real bright yellow. And then I want to just set it in a pie plate or something like that and come back with a dropper and physically get some boiling hot RIT dye of black and just drop it all over it, you know, a couple drops here and there selectively, and see if I can come up with some kind of pattern like splattered. I think that'd be cool as crud. Todd, and who else we got in here? Can't see everybody. I'm thanking everybody for showing up. We're going back through these still, and then we could talk about different ones. Here's another baby banter. This is the one with the, is that the Warncliffe, I guess is what they call this. It's a baby banter Warncliffe. Now this was surprisingly for volume per knife, I think I got more in this knife than I do any of the Civivis individually. This thing cost me about 70 bucks, but I absolutely love it. And this one over here is one of my favorites. My blade shape on this one is absolutely one of my faves. It doesn't have a big choil in here at all for your finger, so you got to kind of stay behind here. But it's got a weird name. It's just called a P87 folder. I don't know that it's got a proper name that, you know, facilitates it like a regular name like Jim, John, or whatever. But as you can see, I've done flippers on a lot of these because of my conditions. But most of these I can do the thumbs or anything else. And then this is my only piss one, as you guys can see. Altum. And this is the Pyrex as well. Hope I'm saying that correctly. I mean, just for an all everyday knife, you can't beat that one at all. And then I had my smock out because I was opening a package earlier. I put these scales on there. They're aluminum. I got them off of Etsy. This is one of my first Spydercos. I only own 3, and all 3 of them are big knives. But out of all the 3 that I have, this is by far my favorite. I absolutely love this knife, and I like the scales on it. So let's see here. I don't know, did you guys catch my video I put out earlier today or not? I'm going to move some of these because I was tickled pink. I bought a Microtech And my first Microtech that I ever bought was back in the day. Let me bring myself up here full screen so I can talk to you guys. So at any rate, what I did was probably 20 years ago, I bought a small, I mean, the smallest of the small Microtechs. Well, I was on Blame Binge the other day, and this guy had this, and I had no business buying another knife. I really don't need to be right now. But I saw this one, this stitch. It's got something I can't get out. And I said, well, I'm going to take a look at it. So I went and seen what the price was originally and what they cost and all that good stuff. And it was about $3.90 every place I could find it. This gentleman had this knife on Blade Binge for $300. I knew that this was going to be, or knew that this was going to be a huge knife. I had no idea it was going to be this big, though. It surprised me. That's driving me nuts. I mean, I think I weighed it in the video, but if I remember correctly, it weighed over 6 ounces. .31. It's a beast. And when it comes out, it comes out. It's almost as big as the one that Tri-State had on the channel earlier. But the finger choil, I mean, let's face it, guys. These guys build one heck of a knife. If you want something rugged, I mean, this is not going to see the light of day probably in my collection. It's going to sit in the box. But it has a little bit of stick. But I've been playing with it most of the day. And it's getting better, but it's still not quite right. Does that make sense? Yeah, Jesse, I wasn't going to buy one, but I decided to go ahead and do it. The price was right. I saved about $90, the best I can tell. And it's sharp as can be. I kind of did a little overview, and I rushed it and missed some things and forgot some things, but it's all good. For such a big blade, I mean, it just cuts like wickedly good. And it's pretty neat knife. So back to my story, I bought my original Microtech back in the day when I was a young man. And I guess I carried it for about a year or two. And I carried that one every day. And then I lost it. It was just gone. So since then, I've bought a couple OTFs. This is the first side opening one I bought since then. I got one cheap one in from Temu or someplace, and I just want to throw that away at this point. After getting this in my hand, there's just no comparison. It's not even close. I mean, it's got a nice choil in it for sharpening. I mean, it's just a beast of a knife. I think they're absolutely overbuilt, but they're cool as crap. Let's see here. Let me catch up on the comments because I'm not good at keeping up here. I'm so sorry, guys. Let's see here. You guys are talking to each other as well. That's great. Okay, so you're familiar with it. Yeah, I think you're right. And it is getting better. And I was going to get an alcohol swab and go in there and just clean it up. But it's doing a lot better. So I agree with you 1,000%. It's going to do a lot better. Yeah, they are huge, without a doubt. You go from that, flipping that thing to doing this, and it's like this doesn't even exist. It's just kind of sitting there. But the thing that I like about the Civivis, I'm trying to say that correctly, that I get back to it, they are consistent, of course, with their parent company being who they are and all that good stuff. You expect nothing but good stuff out of them. This is probably the one I like the least. It's growing on me, though. And this is it could be either a 5th pocket carry, and or regular carry. It's got the huge choil in it. I mean, it feels good. How many Microtechs you got, Gonzo? And guys, how many of y'all got? Has anybody else got Microtechs? I think that they're cool. But I went for these big blades originally back when I first started collecting, and I got a ton of these. Artisan Cutlery has one that's huge. Some different ones that I've picked up. But I really like this blade shape a lot on this one. And again, that was just called the P87 folder, unless you guys are familiar with a different name. And this thing wasn't cheap either. Actually, now that I'm looking at the prices, let's go back up and I'll show you guys my, let's see here. There we go. So I've got my inventory back up again, and you guys can peruse what I've got in these. When I croak, I wanted my wife to have some type of idea of how to sell them. I guess what I ought to do is get all your guys' phone numbers and say, hey, when I croak, my wife is to give all of y'all a card or send out a postcard or something like that. Make a mailing list, right? An email list or something of that nature so you guys can find my collection. Oh, okay. Well, you know, I haven't been able to bring myself to trade anything yet. I am in my pew world. I have decided to start digressing myself of all the 40 caliber stuff. I've kind of, you know, stuck on the 9 for personal protection, and I'm into the 10s pretty heavily and some other things. I wish there was a way to do a live for pews because my knowledge base there is much better, guys, than it is on the knives. And it's just the truth of the matter. I know tons about that. Where you guys know about the knives, I know about the pews. So I could, you know, talk to you more intelligently about that than I can anything else. But I'm trying to learn. But again, if I had to rate these as far as likability and everything, this one's right here on the top of my list in terms of this particular brand. So I think I'll put that one over there. This one's right behind it because I like the Ultim scales. I think they're clean and they look really good. This one, again, as you can tell by the blade shape of the first one, I like it as well. And I'm showing y'all nothing here. I'm such a dumbass. Oh, God. I feel like KC. I'm just off of my own little world ranting and going on about shit. And you guys can't even see what I'm talking about. I'm so sorry. So, again, I was going to say this is my favorite blade shape from this brand. And this is probably my favorite little knife. And then I went to the Ultim after that with the Pyrex. And then the Fusion after that. Again, that's because these two blade shapes are basically the same. Just one smaller than the other. But those are two good looking knives. I need to take some Instagram pictures of these together. Especially after I get the scales done. I think it would look pretty cool. So what's the weather like in everybody's part of the country or the world that you guys live in? We're raining down here and in the 70s. I think summer's coming quickly, which I despise summer down here. It's so hot. Let's see. After that one, I would have to go with this one, the Hawkbill Baby Banter. Then probably the regular Baby Banter. And I think I just cut myself. That's sharp as can be. Then I'd have to say this one right here is next. Then I would go the Sentinel. This one's probably last. The two big blades would be after that. And of course, this is the same as this one, basically. It's just This one's snappier. It seems like the Ultim's a lot snappier. Rain for 3 days in the 70s. Yeah, Blade Walker, same here. You must be close to us. I'm in the state of Florida. Jesse, you're in Seattle, all the way across the other part of the country in the 40s. Man, I'd love to be in the 40s. That's why I need to get up and move, but I'm too old. What do you guys think of the smock? Do y'all like the scales that I put on it? They're aluminum. This thing kicked my butt putting them on, I'm just going to tell you. When I first got it to take it apart, one of the screws was stripped. So I had to order a screw set. And I finally got it all back together. I took one of the detent balls out because I don't like having them both in there. I'm running one. Florida's okay until during the summer months, and then you pay for all the nice weather you have during the winter and the fall. But right now, it's mediocre at best. I have a small, I call it a barn. It's where I keep my pew boxes and stuff because I don't store them in their containers they come in. And I have a gentleman on the property right now rebuilding it. It's 25 years old, and it's disintegrated basically. And he's coming in and resheathing it, replacing some 2x4s and the skirting and everything, rebuilding the whole thing. And as soon as he took off the first panel, he's like, holy crud, look at all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, there's nothing in it. But, you know, it's just where I store the empty stuff. And he goes, man, you must have a lot of you-know-whats. And I'm like, well, a few. Of course, I didn't elaborate a whole lot more on that. Yeah, the heat, Jesse, is tough. And you say, what? Ugly? Sorry, Blade Walker. Are you talking about my aluminum scales here, buddy? Gonzo's in Tennessee. Oh, man, you're in a great part of the country, man. I envy you there. I love that part of the country. All right, Blade Walker, explain yourself, buddy. You don't like my aluminum scales? Is that what you're referring to, sir? If not, that's fine. You don't have to like them. Everybody here is individuals, and they can do whatever they like or please. As far as I'm concerned, that's the way the world works. You don't have to worry about it. Let's see here. Talking about where I couldn't text. Okay. Let's see here. Full swing. All right, man. Let's see what else we got here. I want to know more about Blade Walker not liking my. Was it Blade Walker? Was it Blade Walker? I've lost track, guys. I apologize. I've only got 80 of y'all in here, and I can't keep up. I don't know how Cole and these other guys do it because they're pros. I am getting a little bit better with the software, although I will tell you all a funny. This morning, I came in here early to cut the other video for the Microtech, and I brought up StreamYard. And they have local recording available now, and you can get 4K, and I can manipulate the screens, and I can pull out the different cameras and so forth. At any rate, every time I brought up the virtual background, it said, bug in Chrome or Google, please shut down virtual because it's not available. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got my live stream this afternoon, and I bought a new back screen. I went from green to blue, and I think Mr. Letterman, I think, was in here. I think he's the one that I talked to about it last week. But when I did my show last week, I had no sleeves on. So I had green in my tattoo here. So I went back to watch the video on the television later that day just for chucks and grins, right? And I'm like, and I'm looking, And every green patch I had on my arm had bricks behind it, or in it, I should say. I started to take a knife to make a funny short out of it, digging the bricks out of my arm, basically. And I still may do that, but I found the whole thing funny. I mean, you know, what do you do? All you could do is laugh at yourself, right? I wish I was in Tennessee. If I had to pick anywhere, I'd be in North Carolina or Tennessee as my two favorite places for weather year round. But I was been here since 1964 when Hurricane Dora came in, and I guess I'll go out with the next big hurricane. And I understand we got a huge eclipse coming up soon. Yeah, Jesse, you noticed it too. Well, I tell you, I didn't see it at first, and it was like, okay. And then I was watching it, I got closer in there, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, what the heck is going on there? So I said, I got to do something about it. And I guess if I pulled this up far enough, because there is blue in it, I don't know that I'd see it on my screen, but maybe it'll show up. I don't know, but it's just funny. And I got to thinking about it. There's so many things you can do with the green screen now, and the technology with the computers is phenomenal and doing a good job of handling it. I even changed my background a little bit back here while I was at it, and I'm happy with the results. I hope they're good for you guys, and I hope the audio is good. I mean, my goal is to make this as pleasant as possible for everybody. Oh, really? Does it show up in the blue? Oh, really? Yeah. Well, on the 8th was the one I noticed it in, and I'm sure it's been in others as well. I've just never noticed it. And it was like all of a sudden it was an epiphany that went off. For me, I wasn't paying good attention. But I was telling a few of the guys that were in here a little bit earlier, just for FYI. I appreciate everybody was here last week. I appreciate you guys piling in this week after the other guys got done. I'm going to maybe push this out a half hour or 15 minutes to make it better for everybody. But we've had about 63 views, give or take, after the fact. And I was looking at the analytics, and most people are sticking around and watching a lot of the stream after the fact. The week before was the same results. I had 50 or 60 as well. I really appreciate everybody talking me up. I've gotten some really positive feedback from G-Ball, KC, can't crack Kevin. Kevin doesn't even know I exist, even though he's called my name out a few times. I finally got Cole's attention a little bit today, just a little bit. And I think Neves was in there. And Neves would look like, I don't know, y'all can comment on this. He looked like he was kind of getting irritated because I don't think Cole ever gave him a shout out. And he made a few comments, and then finally he just put a face on there that he was, pissed off kind of face, pouting face on there. So I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but I assume that's Neves that I'm talking about. Neves nice. It looked like his logo, so I assume it was him. I don't think Cole ever shouted him out, but Cole did actually go to my Instagram, which I was pleasantly surprised that he did. And then we had that one night that WIN plus whatever the number is, 3444, I think, or something along those lines. And at any rate, I'm slowly getting a little bit of the community's attention. I'm at 780 subscribers. I've lost a few this week. I've gained a few back. So I broke even by the end of the week. I'm back at 780. It's hard. Yeah, I agree with you, Blade Walker. I'm going to tell you all a funny on him and his wife. He was one of the first I call it influencers, and I don't want to do that. One of the first knife channels I ran across, let's put it that way. And the guy was knowledgeable. He seemed like he knew what he was doing, and his wife was sitting in on the streams with him. And I made some type of joke about something, and she grabbed it for her own. And I was supporting the channel, I was, joined their thing and was supporting it and everything. And she didn't give me credit for what I had come up with. And she wound up the next week, whatever it was I suggested to do, she took it, ran with it, and did it herself, never gave me any credit. And I don't need credit, but it would have been just the right thing to do, if you know what I mean. To say, hey, Dugan thought of this, or did you see what Dugan just said, or something. But she grabbed it, claimed it, took it, ran with it. So I just cut my money off and my $4. And I found some other guys that I enjoyed a little bit better. I do watch Bees Blades every Friday night, live from the Hive. I think his personality is pretty darn good. The funny thing with him is my doctors have had to adjust my medicine because I haven't been sleeping well. And I turn him on, and I probably see 5 or 10 minutes of it now, and I'm sound ass asleep. It's too funny. Let's see. You got to stay on that content. No kidding. Yeah. But he does a good show. I mean, I'm going to call his a show because he really puts a lot of effort into it, and his energy level's high. Kevin's Kevin. I like watching him. Casey, I like watching because he's just honest and truthful and seems to be an okay guy. I really got nothing negative about any Doogies or Dougies or however you say his name. He's funny. G-Ball, again, man, he's ripping those videos out of there. I mean, he's bringing in knives right and left. This got to be costing him a small fortune because I know this stuff ain't cheap. Everything I'm doing is coming out of my pocket, so it's quite a bit. Yeah, I agree. So the funny thing is, everything I've done myself so far, I do have 2 affiliates that have come talking to me a little bit. I've got to go through the paperwork and send back their information this week. That's my goal. And hopefully by next week, I can start at least having a couple things below. I don't know that anything will come of it, especially, but it is what it is. Yeah, I like G-Ball too. He is, he's working it, man. And and Cole, I mean, man, he's jumped up there in the short time that he's been not working. I think he's jumped $3,000 in subscribers. I mean, the last time I looked on his little thing this afternoon, it was like 11.7, something like. He'll be at 12 before you know it. And if I remember correctly, he just did like the 9K not long ago, and keeps growing like crazy. I wish that I can get mine going. You guys feel free to tell me what I'm doing wrong, because I'll be glad to ignore you and keep doing what I'm wrong. No, I'm kidding. I take any advice wholeheartedly because I'm a rookie to all this. I'm just an old guy trying to figure out the technology and figure out what I'm doing, and playing with the knives and learning you guys has been a great deal of fun. And I feel like, like Betty Davis reaches out to me, whenever she sees me. Gons always is in there. I mean, all the time. Blade Walker, Mr. Letterman. I mean, I see all you guys, and I'm starting to, learn to read the chat a little bit quicker in the live streams and everything. The only thing I don't like about watching it on the television, which I do a lot of TV watching via the YouTube, you don't see the stream or the live comments unless you guys know a way to do that better. Maybe I hook a laptop to it and then I can watch it that way on the big screen. Oh, yeah. Couldn't give any advice. Well, dude, you and I are in the same boat, because I look back when my beard was black is when I started this stuff. I don't remember what year it was, but it's been 6 or 8 years. I've gone through a couple. Matter of fact, do you guys like animals? I promised him. Chip. Come here, buddy. Where's he at? Come here. Come here. Everybody wants to see you, maybe. I wanted to show you guys this little guy right here. Let me, all right, buddy. Let me remove this. What do you guys think of this little handsome devil right here? This is my my little buddy right here. This is Chip, and he's a little poodle, old fat guy with a poodle. I got two. I got a little girl running around here somewhere. She's about 9, but she's a wreck right now. She needs to go to the beauty parlor. He's oblivious to what's going on, but he's right under my feet no matter where I go. Sissy, come here. Come here, Sissy. Here she comes. She is under my reloading bench in the middle of the garage. Well, she just stuck her head out and looked at me. She's laying in her bed. She ain't going to have any part of it. You know, I'm going to put that up there. Todd, you bring up a very good point. When I first heard his real voice was last year. He was at some event that he ran into Bird and his wife. I can't remember her name, but you know who I'm talking about, Bird Blades. Bird and what is his wife's name? I like that couple a lot. Anyway, they were coming from the show and he was chasing them down and they wound up with each other and he was bringing the microphone back and forth. He was talking to him or something. And I'm like, what's that? Holy crud. Really? I couldn't believe it. It blew me out of the freaking water completely because I had no idea. I didn't have a clue he was using a voice changer or anything else. Not that it matters. I think it's hilarious. And then he had made a comment a while back, not too long ago, that he'd been a comedian when he was in college or something. Go him. He has the voice for it. And I've tried my hat at that as well. And maybe once you guys get to know me, you'll see some of the humor come out. I'm always like, I'm at the Ramada all the time, you know, doing open mic night. I like messing with the comedians that are on the stage at the time. Sinbad was here in town about 10 years ago. This is, you know, from the apex of his career down to the low of his career. And he used to fill stadiums up at colleges for their homecomings and stuff, 200,000-300,000 people. Now he's at a local Ramada Inn with 35 people in it. And I'm like, dude, what happened to your career? He didn't know what to do with me because I was giving it back to him. But Cole being a comedian, that fits with his voice. And I agree with you. His voice doesn't matter one iota to me in terms of how he sounds. I just like his whole vibe. His wife seems very nice from what I can tell. I mean, you can only tell. I think you do get to know people via the YouTube channels and things of this nature, knife or gun or whatever it is. If you, especially in the knife community, I've noticed because the interaction is really there. And you do seem to get to know them a little bit better. Yeah, you're right, Dwayne. It's Frankie. They're a hot mess. And the innuendos are, you know, the little jabs about, you know what, they got a little underlyment of naughtiness going on all the time. I think it's hilarious. And he's more like the straight guy. You know, at Avisa Costello or Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, he's the straight guy. She's the one with all the comments. It's hilarious. She comes up with more stuff. She's fast. I think that's hilarious. They're a good couple. And then they go out to the park to do their reviews, which is funny to me because they're freezing their asses off sometimes. Yeah, I sure didn't know he was using the voice changer until he was at that particular deal. And they gave away some stuff too. They ran into a couple in the parking lot or something. I don't remember. My goal, if I'm healthy enough and I can do it, and nobody knows me from Adam's Hats, but I'd like to try to go to Blade Show Atlanta. That's a drive that I can do. And I probably may even would just fly it. It's a 20, 40-minute flight for me, something like 40 minutes in the most. Door to door, I guess, getting off the plane. Just because it's 5 or 6 hours to drive. So it kind of makes sense. And then you could take man's transit or whatever it is to get where you need to go. But I understand it's an ordeal to walk. I would almost probably need a scooter. With the Parkinson's, my mobility, I'm doing good to get out to change my target at the 100-yard range and back. So that's 200 yards. with some rest in between to change the targets and shoot for a while and go back out. But what's your guys' favorite brand knife? And let's say middle of the road. I mean, I feel like any knife that's $300 or less is kind of reasonable. I would prefer them all to be on $100. But what are some of y'all's favorite brands? I would be wondering. Oh, thanks, Blade Walker. I appreciate it. What's this about Atlanta? Better be careful. I don't. That's why I would drive. Gons, that's why I would drive. There'd be no doubt about it. Even if I had to stop halfway up in Tifton or something, or 3/4 of the way up in Macon or something like that, just to drive so I could have it with me. I agree with you. Okay, Spyderco, Jesse, can you tell me why? Because that was the last brand that I finally broke down and bought into. And I really have enjoyed this. I love the blade shape. I've got 2 others. I don't remember what names they are. They're right out of my reach over here. I may go grab them here in a second, but that's funny. Pew pews. Quantity reasons, especially. Okay. Makes sense. As far as actually. Oh, really? Okay. I don't know that I've set on a brand yet that's my all-time favorite as of yet. I've got a little dabbling of everything. Let's get rid of this, add this back up, get rid of this, and let's start at the top of this, and let's do a virtual tour of the collection. What do you guys think? A little bit more in-depth one than we've done in the past. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some crap in here, and I do understand that. All right. So obviously this one, this AKC is an inexpensive, and it's an auto. Some of these knives I've had for 15, 20 years. I've been semi-collecting. Hell, I didn't even know it was a thing. I was buying junk, and then I didn't realize you can buy really good, nice knives. It didn't surprise me. It did surprise me. I don't know how to explain it, but at any rate, this one is also an Amazon brand, I think, or something like that, but it is a very good knife. Again, you see I've gone back to that blade shape. Artisan Cutlery. This one, Osprey, I think is the way you say that. This one over here, this Battle Box one, what happened with that was I was in a local pawn shop here in town, and they had one, and it was in okay shape. It was pretty nice. And, of course, I thumbed on my phone to double-check what they had on it against what it was going for, and I think it was a semi-discontinued brand or a hard brand to get. Excuse me. She wanted too much. She wouldn't negotiate with me, which is all the point. You go in the pawn shop, right? Either that or you're getting something in there, taking it to pawn so you could eat. But she wouldn't negotiate. So I went to eBay and found that one for $50, and I thought it was a pretty good deal. This is the actual Benchmade brand. This was one of the first OTFs that I ever bought. This is the knockoff copy, and as you guys can see, what a shit difference there is in them. This one's much wider. It's stubbier. The blade's wider. This is Lice and Light. This is like pot metal crap. And the reason I'm leaving it in the collection is to show people the differences when they come over, because they'll go, well, I could buy that on Temu or something like. Well, go right ahead. This is what the difference is and what it feels like. Let's see what you guys are responding to here. Let's see. As for actual, okay. Let's see what you're saying here, sir. Mr. Blade Walker, man, I didn't know any $100 knives. Blade Walker again. That was there. Chat. Okay, cool. So this is garbage. This is obviously the real deal. Then you get into my Benchmade rabbit hole. You'll see that all these Benchmade bug outs say knockoffs. I've yet to bring myself to buy one yet. So we'll just skim by that. This is a knockoff as well. This one as well. Don't judge me. Another copy. Copy, copy. Copy, copy. Copy, copy. I don't even know why I have them listed in here. I was just screwing around with them, playing with them. Here is the Narrows. Do you guys think the Narrows is priced adequately? I mean, fairly? What are y'all thoughts on the Narrows? I'd love to have one of the ones really deals, but I just can't see. I just can't see spending that kind of money. I think if it was a couple $100 less, I'd probably buy it. Gonzo, the knockoffs are pretty darn good. You just don't know what the metal's going to be. And the reason I bought them, and you're going to be flipped out. See this drawer? That's all knockoff Benchmades. Bug outs. Let's swap this. I put Ultim on this one. And I mean, it's, you know, the steel's probably shit. The action is not the best. It's not the worst. Then I wanted to play around with shipwrecking some knives. So I did that to these because, you know, the scales cost more than 10 of these knives put together. And I think the shipwreck came out pretty good. This one actually came out really nice. I don't know if you guys can see that good or not. Damn near got myself. This one works actually pretty flawlessly. I'll tell you a funny. I had a mini bug out. I gave a friend of mine and I dyed it, graduated dyed it. And I sharpened it and gave it to him. And I told him up front, I said, this is not the real deal. This is a knockoff. But he wanted a small little knife. So I gave that to him as a gift. And I've been giving these away as gifts. And he's used it every day since without it being a problem whatsoever. He carries it every single day. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. The shipwreck I like doing. I'm thinking about sanding these down and redoing them, but then I got to thinking about it. I've got some other brass scales. I think there's one here you guys can see. And it makes knife weigh a ton. Now, let's face it. Who knows what this metal is on the blade? But at the end of the day, I'm truthful about what I'm doing. I'm not sitting here saying anything bad. G-Ball, man, I appreciate you stopping by. The guys were talking about you. I can't I appreciate you gracing me with your presence because I'm struggling. I'm on the struggle bus, buddy. What you guys are able to do in these live streams make me look like a village idiot. But we got 100 knives out here, so that's a good thing, I guess, right? Can't believe you're here. That really, man, you just don't know how that does for me. I appreciate you stopping in. I really appreciate it. Let's see here. I can't afford the Narrow. Yeah, see, what do you think about that, G-Ball? We were talking about the Narrows. Do you think it's worth the money? I personally don't think so. And what we were doing is we were going through my knife collection. And I got 2 knockoffs here. And I've listed my stuff in my collections. So when I die, my wife will know what to sell and what to sell it for. And I don't want anybody getting something. They said that Dugan sold them some junk. You know what I mean? Let's see what the man has to say with wisdom. Just roll with the punches, brother. Okay, I appreciate that. So at any rate, what we're talking about is, I got all these generics and I don't want anybody to get a hold of them thinking they got something they didn't. So I mark them as such. But the narrows, I think, is a little too much money. Oh, and G-Ball, if you're still here, if you watch my video from today, and guys, I'm sorry I'm slanting off to him real quick, but I feel privileged that he's here. Look what I picked up, came in yesterday. And I got this. I found them all for about $390, and I picked this up for $300. It's now the most expensive most expensive knife in my collection. There was no mention of said before item. So we're going through my inventory. This right here, guys, is a Beretta Airlight. If you ever looked it up, I bought this knife back in the day for $20. It's got the most ridiculously sharp blade on it that I've ever seen in my whole life. I mean, it is crazy sharp. G-Ball, give me some pointers on how you guys keep up with all the chat here, man. It's killing me. I don't know how to do it. But let's keep on going here. How many times do I say but? I do like Best Tech knives, by the way. I don't know if you guys get into these or not, but this little hawkbill thing here, I had to have. And I went on the search for that and found that on eBay as well. You see what I paid for it. This one I bought new, and it was a little pricey, I think, for what it is. Here's another Best Tech Man, which I think is their like Civivi is to we, I think is what that is. What does that say? You guys are great. Let's see. This is something that I bought early on, this Boker. That little blade's hard to hang on to when it comes out of there, but I'm not a big fan of that one, but I do have it. This one I like a little bit better. This right here, this Buck Highline, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, out of the box knife, that thing was just on freaking believable how solid it is. It is fantastic. It's got a big choil in the front, not much of a sharpening choil, but it's kind of combined with the finger choil, and it's really, really nice. It does a good job. For the price, for $36, if anybody was to ask me what their first knife would be, not that anybody's going to, but if they possibly did, I'd say this is not a knife to pass up in terms of looking at because it's that good. When my grandson was here living with me this last summer, he had to have one of these. He fell in love with it. Let's see. And there's another Buck there. That one I probably bought 100 years ago. This is a Buck as well. That's crap. There's another big old honker bill. Look at this little guy right here. This High Country series is, I don't know where I wound up with this knife. It came with a sheath and everything else. Pretty darn nice. It's a great skinning knife. That one's junk. Let's see here. This Cat Eye is a really nice knife. I don't know where I got it, how I came across it. It came with a sheath. I've had it for 100 years. It's a great knife. Yeah, I sure have, Blade Walker. And it's all because of you guys. Gonzo, I think, was the first guy that ever came into my live stream still to date. I think he's the first guy that ever saw me and actually took the time to talk to me. And the live streams have been doing a little bit better each time. But I could tell you this, and I'm not sucking up to Mr. G-Ball. It's the fact. He's worked his ass off, and it's reflected in his numbers. And I got to do the same thing. It's laziness on my part, guys. It's not because you guys aren't supporting. It's because I'm not getting enough done. Let's see. Some of these are tough. Lots of lives going on. Yeah, G-Ball, I agree with you. I've thought about another day. I was looking at the calendar. He sent me a new update on it, and they're piling on top of each other now, so I don't know what to do. Kevin has his like at 9:45 at night. I'm in bed, guys. I can't do that. Let's see here. I'm trying to keep up with y'all's chats too. So yes, he is. Hey, God, his reviews have gone from here to here overnight. I mean, boom. And then he's got his little niches that he's coming up with, different things. Like I caught him the other day with the EDC, the bug out bag type thing. I think he calls it something else. G-Ball, what do you call it? I thought it was a great name for it. But I'm going to keep scrolling through these so we can get to the bottom. Let's see. These are all the Civivis that you guys just looked at live. No pun intended. CJRB, what do you guys think about them? I've got a few of their knives, and I'm happy with them. They do a good job. The CMB I picked up on eBay. I thought this was a pretty neat buy. I like this knife a lot. This one here, this out the front, this OTF is pretty good. I picked that up when I was in the Carolinas. Let's see. This is a knockoff. I'm just going to spin through those. Here's an Overland. I like this one, CRKT. That's a pretty neat knife. I like the angle on it because you could use it in the kitchen or something like that. I'm letting the scroll kind of get ahead of me, guys. Let's see. Whoops. Yeah, well, it's paying off, man. You keep going. Sam, hey, man. Nice to see you. Let's see here. This CRKT I found in the back of a drawer that was here in the garage. And it's an interesting knife. But out of all the knives that I've got in my collection, this one has a spot of rust on it. It's the only knife that I've seen with rust. This right here, this big doodad right here, this CRKT Rips North, or however you say it. Oh my God. I think that thing must weigh a pound. It's huge. Absolutely huge. This one's pretty nice over here. Actually, I don't remember who turned me on to that one. I don't remember. Another fake one there. Then we get into the Devos. I like his stuff. G-Ball, this is your fault right here. I think it's this one, this drop. Was that the one that you had that I picked up? I think I got this on eBay. I think I saw you with that one, and I had to have it. Does that ring a bell to you at all? Hey, G-Ball, so I got another question. Are you using StreamYard, or what are you using for your live stream? That would be a curiosity for me. Sam, so what part of the country are you from, sir? Yeah, that's what I thought, man. And as soon as I saw it on there, I had to go find it. And I did. I think I reached out to you and told you that I had gotten it, but I think that's before I got to know you. Let's see here. This little body right here, this Elk Ridge LR275. Found that in the back of a drawer with a sheath. This thing is nice. I looked up, this is the price that I found it online for it 100 years ago, whatever, but I don't know where I got it or anything else. I think I'll have some more on here that G-Ball might like. This one right here, this giant mouse surprised me. This thing I showed you guys last week is huge. I mean, it is a beast. All titanium, nice knife. Let's see what he's saying. Yeah, I'm having a hard time seeing this stuff across the thing. I got to still work up my screen better. I did make it bigger, but it's not helping me a lot. Weight ratio. Yeah, all the time. That's like, this smock. I put these aluminum scales on there and it had something else on there originally. It doubled the weight of this, if not tripled it. But I can't complain about the action on it. I just love it. I took out one of the detents. I'm hell bent on cutting myself before the day's done. All right, let's keep moving here. This right here, this big old Gerber, I've had forever and ever as well. I like this one, this concept, KTC3. It's got like a hawkbill on it. It's a little overkill. This concept Spirit is solid as a rock. It is a cool knife. Hell, this is almost like going on Blade Binge or something like that, looking through the knives. And I'm going to tell you guys, this is about a half of what I got because I didn't put the junk in here. Kershaw. I'm not a big fan of all their stuff, but I'm going to tell you one thing. On this live wire, and it's a knockoff, gentlemen, I've got two of them. I paid $35 a piece for them. I've played with the real one. I've played with this one. I'm hard pressed to find a difference. Now, I grant you the steel's probably crap. No doubt about that. But at least I got an idea of what I'll be getting into when I buy one, because I probably will. This one's pretty cool. The end game. I like that one a lot. Now these, the launch, I have been collecting the launches. And I am buying the real deals on these. As you can see, it's reflected here. This one right here is a neat knife. This one is a knockoff, though. This is, I would buy this one as the real one, too, because I like the blade shape. Why do I have this one? This is out of place. It's going to drive me nuts. Now I'll be up all night trying to straighten that out because it's not in alphabetical order. Are you guys that anal retentive that you would be like, just couldn't stand it? You'd have to change it because it was out of order for some reason or another in your world? I'm clicking the wrong buttons here. Let's see what he says here. That's what it was. Get home bag. I love it. That's exactly right. That is a great name for that. And that's a better suitable name than a bug out bag. I like it. Get home bag. So that one you have with you on the other end, that's the one you carry with you all the time. That way you can get home at least, I think is what you're saying there. All right. This one right here, it's a copy, but I'm going to get the real one. I was impressed with it. And that's another thing. Have you guys run across this with the Instagram ads and the Facebook ads and whatever else? This is one of these ads I bought this from. And now I knew this was a knockoff going in, but they profess it to be the real deal. They should be shut down. And actually, I haven't seen as many of these ads as I had been seeing. This has not got a mark on it. There is no branding whatsoever on this knife. But it was $20. It's mimicked after the Launch 14. Great knife. I mean, if I didn't know what this was, and again, we don't know what the steel is, and we'll never know, but fantastic knife. I would definitely buy one of those real knives. This Kaiser Sheepdog is a beast. It's huge. Do you guys like the Squidward? This is the lander. I put the scales on here. Pretty neat. I think these are good little knives. This thing right here, I've got two of these. It's I don't know, I found it on eBay or someplace. That's the one I'm going to try to acid etch the blade and tumble it. Here's a real Microtech that I have out the front. This one's real as well. This one is not. This one is not. This one is not. This is the one, when I got that in my hand after having this so calm in my hand, I said, I'll not buy a knockoff again of these, because there's just no comparison. And then after actually getting this one, there will not be another Microtech knockoff in my house. Unless somebody brings it in without me knowing it, then I'm going to have to. I'm just saying. This is another one, G-Ball, that you probably like. I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm sorry. Tactical. OCCAM. It's an OC1. It's a beast. It's got like a harpoon blade on the front of it. It is bad to the bone. There's another. That's an M-Tech, so that's in order. I was going to say, if I got another one out of order, it would drive me absolutely apeshit crazy. Let's see here. Yeah, Sam, I like it as well. I think that guy is pretty funny too. He's kind of out there. I think he belongs in the 70s. What does this mean right here? 99.9% of the time we're not making Chinese. Yeah, I agree. I've been in the steel industry, guys, if you don't know it, most of my career. And I think I announced last week I will have access to a Rockwell tester here in the next few weeks. I won't have it here at the house, but I'll have it at the shop, and I'll have availability to it. I've been doing some discussing with my plant manager about it coming in. So hopefully, Tommy, if you're watching, you are the best guy on the planet. I want you to know that. And I would love for us to get that on order. And you know why. And he knows why. But I'm trying to decide if, when you take the blades, if I've got to take them completely off the scales to test it, it was probably going to be the right thing to do. And I'm trying to think of a way around that. But I just don't think the blade shape itself on any of these are going to facilitate it to lay flat. And you're going to need it to be flat in order to do it. So I'm going to have to remove the scales, get it in the jig, drop the little needle down. It's going to make an ever so slight little pierce into the metal. But to get a true reading, I'd like to do both sides. And we're going to investigate how to do that. And of course, I'm going to try to video any of the knives I do test. G-Ball Vision, also a good setup for determine meat set. Okay. I agree. That's my problem. I get in a hurry for stuff too, to get things done. But I know that you guys are going to be really interested in the Rockwell. I hear y'all talking about that a lot. I know you guys are in the steel. I'm more in the aesthetics. You guys work with your knives more than I do. Mine are more collectibles. I'm more on the pew-pew side of things, but unfortunately, we are not in a political climate that I can live stream any of that. I found that out the hard way. But irregardless, I digress. We'll just keep moving about the political aspects of all that. Petrified Fish is a good little knife. G-Ball, this one you turned me on to as well. The Off-Grid Viper. It's like having a chisel in your hand. I mean, that knife is built like Fort Knox. It's $110. It's a pretty darn nice knife. If you're a person that uses a knife and works with it every day, I can see where that would be a valuable tool in your toolbox. Yep, I agree. The Vipers are good. I think if you were going to have a knife that I was going to take camping or something like that, heaven forbid, I would take that knife. The only way I'm going camping is probably in an RV. Just saying. Let's see what else we got here. About to get to the bottom of the list, I think. Here's that Whisper. I bought that ProTech. It's a knockoff. I would hope that the real one works better than the one that I got. because it's not the best, but it is a fun party thing to take to a party. And I wasn't going to buy the real deal just to do that with, so I bought a generic. And surprisingly enough, most of the guys that I'm around figured it out. Penguins, as Beat says, you got to have a penguin. Somebody, who was it? Mentalist, the Asian dude, I can't think of his name. He recommended this knife after one of the knife shows last year, this Revo. And I think he got it for nothing or something like, well, that's good because it's not worth a crap. I'll move on. Here's a really neat knife. This little knife here from Amazon, this $30 job right here, Reba, is a pretty neat little knife. And here's a Sin cut Smith & Wesson knife. I won't buy another one. I had 2 of those in my collection. It's not something I went out and bought. They were just here. This SOG is a pretty neat one, the Slim Jim. I don't know if you guys have seen this thing, but it's about yay thin. I mean, it is tiny, tiny, tiny. It's a tiny little deal. Todd agrees. Something that is. I'm going to start paying attention to this chat. You guys are way over my head. Y'all are good at this. This SOG's actually pretty nice too. It does a good job. This is what the smock looked like before I put the scales on it, guys, just so you know the difference. It's right there. And that's a pretty pricey knife when I bought it. There's my other Spydercos, the other 2 that I own. I still haven't fallen in love with the Spydercos yet. I know that everybody loves them. I'm still having a little bit of a challenge with them. But they're growing. The smock, I won't say that. That one definitely has been okay for me. I like that one a lot. Okay. Yeah, and I've had a couple of those over the years, and I screwed up and let them go. But this one was so unique, I decided to keep this SOG. I thought it was a pretty neat one, but I've kicked myself several times about some SOGs that I gotten rid of, and I wish I hadn't, but it is what it is, right? This little flipper right here, the stainless steel job that doesn't really have, there's no description. Anything about this one. It's more like a little executive knife, CFO knife, for lack of a better term. It is sweet. Who knows what steel's on it? Who's this Tempest guy? You guys heard of this guy? Do y'all know who he is? Old Mr. KC himself. His head is, he needs to quit wearing that hat and let that shine get a little tan on it. It took like 3 years for mine to get tan on it. They thought I was having chemo or something for a few years when I first shaved my head. And by the way, this is a choice. I didn't lose it. I shaved it, just so FYI. I'm not sure that everybody's aware of that, but I wanted to put that out there. Casey, whoa, that one went by quick. What was that? What was that? What did I see? I missed it. Oh man, gosh, you guys are going too quick. Here we go. KC live driving me home. Yeah. What? I've noticed that. I've caught him 3 times now driving home live streaming. That's kind of dangerous, especially where he lives when it's snowing and so forth. But he's eating it up, man. He's getting people pop right on there pretty quick. Tim's in there real quick to take care of his modding. And y'all might explain that to me too, all you veterans in here. When does G-Ball, do you have any mods? Because I don't know that I even know how to even do that, to get somebody to help me with that if I need it. But everybody's been in here, been great, so I haven't had an issue. And, to be honest with you, you can cuss me out and call me 3 shades of Sunday or whatever you want to do to me. A, I probably would miss it. B, I don't know how to get rid of it. And C, I don't care. you can do whatever you want in terms of calling me names. That I was a cop for a while and got called a lot of things over the years. Any rate, so yeah, Tempest makes good knives. My only problem with the ones without the thumb stubs on them, I can't open them with the way my hands are and everything. But that's my problem. This Timberline, this Japanese thing here, cleaver type thing, that's when I was on my cleaver face. This Trevice, I like this one, this blade shape. I saw it on one of the live streams or on one of the guys' thing, and I had to have it. Same way with the Buddhist or Booties, Traverse little boot knife, whatever. And then I got into the Tucson's for a while. Tucson Sun is, I had to have this one, and you can't really see. That's like a cream color. I had to have that. I got that on eBay because of the blade shape. And then I got down the rabbit hole and I had to have this one. And I do like their knives. Vortec, I actually do like their knives as well. They're inexpensive. Here's a Vosti Nightshade. This one I paid too much for, guys. You probably looked at that price right off the bat and said, yeah. The problem with that is I couldn't find it at the time I wanted it, so I think I wound up getting it on eBay. I go to eBay a lot. One of my most favorite Vostis is obviously the RS Chaos, and G-Ball would give me a hard time because it's probably in the shit metal compared to what his is. Probably a nice one. This is that Win Plus that was the one that Cole asked me about in the live stream. Kaleidoscope. Hey, man, how you doing? So that's about all my collection. I wish and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, the veterans that have been on here for a while, let me ask you a question. Can I or not, let me see, get this back up here. Can I or not show picture? I guess I can show pictures of the pew-pews and go through my collection and my range footage. I could bring it up and show that on the live stream, or is that taboo as well? Can somebody help me answer that question? That would be awesome because I'm unclear on that. I know I can't touch them. I learned that the hard way. Again, guys, I appreciate everybody being in here. And it means a lot to me, especially G-Ball, you stopping by. Blade Walker, I mean, all you regular guys. Gauze, I mean, Kaleidoscope, I've seen your name a few times. I know I've seen you in the other people's stuff. It just proves the point about this knife community that you guys will help a brother out and try to get them going despite my inefficiencies. I'm just thrilled to death that you guys feel enough to come in here and even stop for a minute, but I would like to share my knowledge. You guys have the knife knowledge. I don't have that. I have the pew-pew knowledge. I've started my collection I was 14. I'm 64 now. You can do the math. 50 years ago, whatever it is. I'd love to be able to share that with you guys and show some range stuff. Is that something I can do? I appreciate it. I agree. What does that say? Strange. Switch the guys collection of video. Yeah. At least everybody could see it, and I can enlighten them. There's so much knowledge I have, and like the reloading. Now, what's the story on that? I mean, I guess I'm making something, so that would be not allowed either. I couldn't do that. Okay, cool, Sam. Good to know. Well, I've got a vast knowledge of that, and I'd love to share it. I'm ignorant when it comes to the knives, but the pew-pews, by far, my knowledge base with I'm a class 2 guy. I don't have any class 3s, but I have access to class 3s through people that I'm in touch with the industry here. My class twos are pretty extensive. I have many, and I have the suppressors and so forth as well. I have range video. So I guess I need to double check with YouTube to make sure that I can do that. That's what I gather too, Todd. And that's kind of what I got from it as well. That's what when they wrote me up for having the one on the show, I actually held the box up and then took it out of the box and just put it on the deck. And it was done. They shut my live stream right down. I was finished at that point. They did not give me a strike, which was nice, but they did shut me out of live streaming for a few weeks. And I kind of knew, but I didn't know. But I don't know if you guys are familiar with the guys that do We Like Shooting. There's a group of them on. They got 2 live streams that are on every Monday night. And they're constantly holding stuff. And I don't know how they get away with it. They're a pretty good sized channel. Of course, if I was Matt with Demolition Ranch, they probably wouldn't say anything about that either. And I used to be a big drone guy, but with this one over here is the Shaky Baby. I can't do the joysticks through the race drones anymore. I got boxes of race drone stuff over here that I need to sell because I can't fly them anymore. I could do the camera drones because they're easy enough. They're slow flying. But to do a race drone at this point, no way, Jose. And then I still can't play the guitar, which sucks, but that is what it is. What'd you say up here, Mr. G-Ball? I missed one, maybe. What'd you say? Dugan, if you want me. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I mean, I am just overwhelmed with the support in the knife community. It's pretty strong. And I appreciate you guys coming in here. I still didn't get a real good consensus if I should move this back even another half hour till 5 o'clock on Sundays to keep from bumping into Zach and some of the other guys. Because obviously I don't want to pull from them if you guys are waiting on a drawing or something like that. And I'm going to start doing some of those as well. If I could ever get to 1,000, if I can get there, I got some things put together already to give away. Excuse me. And my Parkinson's channel that I've started is obviously not going to do much. The community of Parkinson's people is very small. There's about 7 million of us in the community in the United States at any given time. And that's more for those type folks. But if you have any interest in that, my other channel, Facing Parkinson's Head On, I'm trying to get off the ground. I was going to do just a podcast because that seems to be the way that community wants to listen to things. I'm doing video as well. I'm still trying to figure out all the details of what I need to do there. Haven't been able to do that. TK Hell Transportation. Yeah, we saw that. I guess I'm going backwards here. I'm looking at stuff backwards. So you feel like it'd be okay to show the inventory? Like I did briefly show it. If we get knocked off at this point, what are we into this? Hour and a half? I'm just going to go over here. Say screw it. I'm just going to leave it on that page right there. That'll get you started in the bees with the Berettas. But this is kind of, I'm anal retentive when it comes to this kind of thing, that I keep good records. And that's another thing I can help people with. If they want a copy of this Excel format, there's no rocket science to it. It's just built with filters and so forth, but it's a pretty neat deal. And then you've got like the master list that you can sort everything by. Like if you wanted to look at your pricing, and this applies to the Pew Pews as well as this, you can select here on the brand and on select all, and just say you wanted to see all the best techs. And I'm probably not telling you guys anything. You've probably seen this before. So that's every best tech in my collection. Does that make sense? How that works? And you could do the same thing with the other. Yeah, I agree with this statement right here, Sam, that you just made. And I don't pretend to know everything because I don't. I do know a lot about the pew-pews, but that's about it. Reloading as well. When I first got diagnosed with the Parkinson's and they put me on some meds finally, I was helping a buddy of mine develop a, I think it's a 6.5 Grendel load for his AR, one of his ARs. And I'm really good at perfecting rifle loads. I've done a lot of bench rest and whatever, but I was in a fog and I couldn't find my calipers. I couldn't understand the powder weights, the bullet weights. And, we still dialed in a decent load, but I was in a fog. And once they got me on the medicine, and I've been on it now for about 3 months, the fog's gone. I have all my wit about me again, and I can dive into these projects. Like I've got a big Dylan press over there that I do massive amounts of pistol rounds on because I did a lot of competition shooting. And so my goal, at least as long as I can until this disease finally eats me up some, and I can't get to the point where I can do any more than I'm doing, I'm going to try to, my sense of urgency is to play with what I've bought and accumulated for these 50 years. And then, face the reality of whatever's thereafter. But I'm going to try to make sure that I use the time I got left the best way I can. I guess that anybody could say that, right? I mean, everybody's trying to do the same thing. It's not any different because I have this or you have that or whatever. It could just be any reason at all. You want to use the time on this world that you've got and use it to its best advantage, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I'm getting off track here. I'm sorry. So let me ask another question to you guys. Would you like to see more Pew Pew content on the live stream? And let me bring footage in and we can do some type of informational stuff via that. I'd love to go over some of the cans. I've even built a few, and I know that everybody's, we don't want to get involved with that because it's illegal or whatever. Well, they're legal. They've all been tax stamped and they're all on the up and up. And I'm not going to lose my collection over something stupid and not have ATF come in here and knock on my door. It's just not going to happen. Let's see what he's got here. You got to enjoy it, man. It's not worth it. I agree. G-Ball, you still in here, man? Man, you're making me smile. Yeah, I know. I get it. So, well, but that's on a website. Well, but the We Like Shooting guys do that. Every single episode, they have a product review thing, and they go to different websites and just look at the stuff, and they call it Gadget or Gun and Gadget or something like that, and they go evaluate and look at these things online all the time. I guess it's a double standard, right? Yeah, I agree. I don't want to get in trouble. Oh, really? Well, that's good to know, G-Ball. Plus, I noticed you have a Pew Pew in the background. Of course, these are posters. So they shouldn't have indifference or anything else. I appreciate it. That's for sure. Yeah. I guess I need to figure out what I can and can't do. Well, I know during the live streams, you can't do much. Let me bring him up here. He wants to say something. Come here. Come here. I don't know if you guys were all in here earlier when I brought him out. All right, G-Ball, no hard time about having a wuss dog. I got two of them. This little guy is my little buddy right here. This is Chip. Chip is my buddy. He's always at my feet all the time. He's about 3 years old, and he hears the neighbors. The little girl next door just turned 16, and her dad got her a old Jeep to work on. That's what she wanted, was a red Jeep. So that's what she got for her birthday, and they're going to be working on that together. Let me see if the little girl will come out. Sissy, come here. Excuse me. Come here, Sissy. Come here. Now, you guys, don't give me a hard time about this one. She's got to go to the beauty parlor. She's all messed up. She's dirty and filthy. She still got her bows in from the last trip. See if I can hold her up. She's 9. She's got little tears on her eyes and everything else, but she goes to the beauty parlor later in the week. And, of course, he's jealous because I'm holding her. He cannot stand it. The animals bring me a lot of joy. And I don't know if you guys know it or not, but if you check out some of my earlier videos, you would have heard a parrot in the background. I had a little green Quaker parrot, and the little guy up and died on me in my hands about 2 months ago. And I'm trying to decide if I really want to replace him or not. It may not be fair. They, at this point in my life, probably will outlive me. But, you know, that's the way it goes. They bring you so much joy. It's hard to do without them. I'm sure a lot of you guys are either dog, cat, animal lovers in general, right? Live streaming, anything to do with guns. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm going to have to do some research and second think all that. You know, and I noticed there's a lady I kind of know about in Florida. And what she does, she premieres her content so she could be in the live chat when it's running, and it's all gun related. She's at the range, she's shooting, she's holding guns, she's in gun shops, doing all kind of stuff. But she participates in the live via the chat. Does that make sense? Thank you, sir. She's getting old, Blade Walker. She's been around a little while now. She is my definite little buddy, though. She doesn't let me get far out of her sight. Yeah, and I don't know if I said anything earlier, but I've got 2 affiliates that I'm working with right now, trying to get the paperwork finished on the knife side. So that's been a good thing. That finally some people have actually reached out to me. Thank you, sir. Sam, I appreciate it. Yeah, I agree. Well, I don't have any expectations of this channel ever getting monetized. I mean, 90% of my content up until I got in the knife community about a year ago has been all gun related. So it probably won't fly. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking, Mr. Letterman, that the premiere is the way to do it. If you're hell bent on doing the gun thing, the pew-pews, and she's just wide open about it. As a matter of fact, she's more brazen than I am about it. I don't know if you guys can go through my shorts or look, but I've got one on the Second Amendment that I just cracked the door of my safe, and it's a walk-in. And I just checked this morning before this live stream, and I'm just under 30,000 views on that one short. So that was pretty cool. That's the most viral one that I've had, or that I'd call viral for me. I mean, that's the most I've ever seen for my channel. But I think that's the way to do it, is to sit here and do a live stream, do everything I want to do with them, but don't stream it, obviously. Do it as a premiere and participate in the chat. And to be honest with you, for me, in the way that my mind works, it might be easier because I'm trying to pay attention to camera one, the above camera. I got another camera over here. I mean, I think you guys see that I've got pretty extensive setup here that I've got up to 6 cameras set up, which is overkill. I realize that, but I'm a geek and nerd. So I just do all this crap and learn about it, whatever. But I also have this one. This is what my expectation was. And let's see what you guys think of this. This camera right here does everything. It's AI. I put this on a tripod at the range or whatever, and it does everything from there on. I do a wireless mic right into it. It follows me around, gets all the footage. I put some GoPros up, go do whatever I'm going to do at the range. Then I could do a premiere and then do a premiere with everybody in the live stream, talking on the text stream. Let's call it a text stream, not a live stream. Does that make sense? Do you guys agree with that philosophy? Would that be the way to go? If you're a nice collector, people eat it up. Yeah, and I don't want to sound arrogant in any way because we're all equal. I will just say that I have a pretty extensive collection. I go in 100% on anything I do, and the knives have just consumed me of late, the last 2 years. Imagine what I've done with 50 years of collecting on the other side, and I'll leave it at that. Does that make sense? Okay. Is your detent? My detent is not very strong on this. I'm thinking about going in and adjusting it. You see how I can fail it with the flipper? And I can't even thumb flip it. I mean, just barely, because I get in the way of the flipper up here on the top. But do you see what I mean? Let's switch back over here. Is yours giving you a fit like that as well? Or is yours strong? Yeah, the security cameras are good. I've got there's one on every corner of my house and then some. You can believe that. And a security system that is double bypass to get through certain areas. So I'm very security minded. Yeah. So what do you do, Sam? I think I'm going to go in and that's a button lock. So how do you adjust a button lock, guys? Okay, I'm going to show my ignorance. How do you adjust a button lock? Does anybody know? Yeah, and I agree. I mean, it's one of the weakest knives I've got. I don't understand it. It's weird. Let's see here. Go back at top here. Damn, I just got myself. Keep cutting myself. I mean, I love the blade. I like what they've done. It's almost like it's an integrated back. I can't wait for Staffy. Is that how you pronounce his name? The gentleman that was in the explosion. He's got a new knife coming out this year, and I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on that one. Let's see. To be honest, I've just used the button. You know, I don't have enough coordination to do that. I got to flip it. I can't. I don't have the coordination to press the button and get it to sling. You're doing better than me. I did it that time, but the flipper gets in my way. I'll cut a finger off before I get that done. Let's see here. Weak spring, probably. Fine Civivi crossbar. You like it? Let's open better. Swap springs. Is it got a Omega spring in it? Where is the spring at? That's where I'm not understanding, I guess. I need to take it apart so I get a better idea of what it's doing. Although I could say it's doing a little bit better since I've been playing with it a little bit. No pun intended. Yeah, exactly. Yes, he has a knife coming out that's going to be pretty clever from what I've seen. He's collaborating with Kevin and his partner. And I can never remember his partner's name. I know that it's kind of French name, but I can't remember what it is. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I agree. These things are like wearing the muffs at the range. After a while, they start hurting. I probably don't need them, but I was hoping to play some sound effects today and never got around to it. That's annoying as hell. I won't do that again. That is too. I had some cool ones saved for you guys. That's all right. How about that? That sounds like Cole's fart machine. Actually, that one does. That sounds just like Cole. Yes, Colin. Can't hear them. You guys can't hear that? Am I not getting the full effects of the money I paid for some of this damn stuff I got sitting on the shelf? Need to drive and pick up the Wi-Fi. All right, man. Todd, thanks for stopping, Mr. Carr. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me that you guys come in here. You can't hear it. Nope. All right. Well, that gives me something to work on next week. Oh, I bet you that's why. Let's see here. Well, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I have to figure it out. I'm sorry you guys can't hear it. Everybody's telling Mr. Carr goodbye, and I really appreciate him stopping by. So you guys can't hear the sound effects. Well, that just is not good. I got this Roadcaster over here. I know, but oh goodness. I wish you guys could hear it. Oh, wait a minute. I may have fixed it. Maybe not. I'm screwing around with this stuff and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know. It doesn't matter, I guess. Well, guys, I'm going to cough again. I don't know what's going on with this thing. I can't figure it out. At any rate, it doesn't matter. Well, that's fine, Blade Walker. It's not a big deal. Like you said, I'll figure that out on my time and not waste y'all's time with all this gizmos and doodads and stuff. I wanted to be as cool as the cool kids. You know what I mean? What I need to do is get what's the one guy? I started watching the one guy with the big long beard with the toy machine gun. He shoots that, and then of course G-Ball's been working on his little. I think he's using a kazoo or something. Some of the guys using a kazoo or something along those lines. It's been pretty funny. Everybody's got their thing. Bells, you know, Cole's got two different gong and a bell, and Bees has got a bell. And I was trying to be one of the cool kids, but I guess I let everybody down. Yeah, Big Red. Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, I'm not going to ask that question. That'd be unfair. I was going to say, who's your favorite YouTuber, Knife World, but that's not a good answer. A good question to ask folks, because everybody, I think, does a pretty good job in their own niche. They're a lot more polished and professional than I am at this point, but that's all good. Well, you guys got any other questions or something you want to ask me about QPUs, and what do y'all think about the Premiere thing? I won't ask this again. I'll just put it out there. If I was to produce some QPU stuff for premieres, what would be a good time to have them premiere? Later in the evening when you're watching TV and you don't have to worry about it too much, or do you care about it, or what's your thoughts in general? I think there's, from what I can tell from the general consensus, there's quite a few QPU people around. Does that make sense? What do I keep ignoring? I don't think I'm ignoring you. Is it you that you're talking to me, or are you talking to somebody else? I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. Oh, okay. Yes, afternoons would be good. All right. Well, I'll try to figure out something and make an announcement between now and next week. With the weather being the way it is, I haven't been able to get to the range, and I've been trying to get my hands steady again, and we're about there. So I think I can get back out there and do something. Afternoons would be good. That seems to be the general consensus. All right, I'm screwed up here. What are you trade on? I thought you were asking that the week before last or last week as well, Blade Walker. To be honest with you, out of my collection, that's probably my most favorite one of all. Out of all the purchases I've made year to date, including this thing I just got, that's probably my most. When I saw that knife the first time, I absolutely just fell in love with it. What's 454? I don't know what that means. Well, you guys are killing me here. I'm so far behind the 8 ball, no pun intended on that either. It's not even funny. Sam, when I croak, I'll tell my wife to reach out to you. How about that? Hopefully it won't be anytime soon. It's funny, Dwayne. Oh, goodness. Well, this thing weighs as much as what I carry every day. I can tell you that. And that's no exaggeration. It's damn close. Of course, it would be empty, but it's pretty darn close. You guys are a hoot. I really appreciate y'all. Like I said, thank you. I appreciate it. If I bring you a little smile, I've done what I set out to do, to just get in here. And if I can just get my grandkids to watch even with one show would be something. There's Betty. I asked earlier, way early on in the live stream, where you were at. I'm glad you made it. So glad to see you. We had G-Ball in here. We've had Mr. Carr had to leave. Let's see who we've had a bunch of folks in here today. I don't think we hit a record as far as people for the amount at one time, but we've had a lot of people come and go. And I explained to everybody earlier in the stream that the residual watching has been very good. We've been having a big debate about pews and doing a premiere video on that type thing, not live streaming, just live chat. And I'm seriously considering that because that's really what my background and knowledge is. But we'll have to decide. Doesn't have to be decided today. Well, if you're busy, you're busy. I understand life keeps everybody going. That's the thing. To make time. I try to watch Cole's thing all morning, and I was busy cutting in the video of my own and editing it, and just haven't had a chance to watch him as much as normal. But he did give me a little shout out, so that was good. Blade Walker has been working it hard, Betty. He wants my chaos. And I was explaining to him that's probably the most favorite knife out of the collection. That was the first expensive knife that I bought. In my world, it's expensive when they get up in pew pew territory. But I was showing him this. I got this in yesterday. It's overkill. It's dumb. Didn't need it. But I got it for about $90 below retail. I got it on Beige Blade Blend. You know what I'm talking about. Beige Blade Binge or Binge Blade. I don't know. I'm getting groggy here. My sugar's running low, guys. It's been a long stream. And again, you see the smile on my face. I couldn't be happier you guys all showed up. We're also debating moving this off until 5 because there's other folks still on the other streams waiting to see what's going on over there. So I probably am going to seriously consider moving this off to 5 o'clock. Trying to catch up on all the messages. What part of the country do you live in, Betty? I don't remember if I asked you that last time or not. If I did, I apologize. We've got a consensus on everybody else. I appreciate it, Blade Walker. I think I'm all right for the moment. There's Todd again. I thought you left. Oh, you're in the parking waiting for your wife now. I see, says the cat. Ohio. What part? I think we did talk about this. My daughter lives outside of Athens in a little town called Stewart. Trying to stay on top of all the chat. I'm not doing a good job of it. So yeah, we're talking about doing this other thing. I'll try to get some. Do y'all ever look at the community posts? Because I do put some things in there and it seemed like nobody ever read them. But that seems to be a good way to keep in contact with everybody. And also I'm on Instagram, and everything's the same across all the platforms with me. If you're trying to reach out to me, What Dugan Thinks on every single one of them. I managed to lock that up a long time ago. It's kind of a hokey thing, but I'm kind of stuck with it. I printed up a bunch of these, so that means I'm got to stick with it for a while. And I have my stickers, of course. I'm going to be sending these out to some of the other folks. And I got a little bit of a background in marketing when I was in the steel industry. So believe it or not, handing these out in the grocery stores and different places have really paid off. I got a lot of folks locally that watch. And it's kind of neat when you, like the guy that I do on my mailing, my packages with, he's like every week, I watched your episode or the pawn shop people or whatever. It's kind of neat that local people are actually watching. Okay. So you're in the Southeast. Yeah, that's where they're at as well. So what's over that way? Parkersburg, Athens, obviously where the college is. They're in Stewart. So they're over in the Southeast as well. I know when I go over that way, I usually fly out of Columbus. I think it is. Columbus? Yeah, Columbus. I'm not sure what that means. Help me out, Sam. Canada. I remember that. I do remember you living up there, Todd. Sam, you're going to have to clarify a little bit. Well, I don't know where that's at. I've never heard of Zenville. I don't know what that is. I know I would usually go into Pittsburgh to the steel mills, and then I would drive from Pittsburgh down to their place, then fly out from there. All right, the steel company up there, northeast in Ohio. Yeah, Wheeling. I used to deal with a company up there called I can't remember the name of Metal Sciences. They were actually a coder, but I do mostly offshore. Unfortunately, this country has forced a lot of the steel to be bought offshore, unlike, exactly like the knives. To get U.S. people to do it is kind of hard, but I'm not proud of that fact. But at the end of the day, I imported from many countries, and I still consult. I'm still working part-time. We can go into more detail that on the next east of Columbus. Okay. That's funny, Todd. I see the Canadian goose are back down here in Florida. They're all they're like pets around here. Between that and the mallard ducks, in my community right now, we probably have no less than 20 pairs of geese, and they'll have little guys in no time at all, and they'll be running around with those for the next few months. It's fun to watch. It's pretty neat. I enjoy wildlife and the animals, as most people do, and the ducks are more of a nuisance than the geese. The geese are more, well, they poop everywhere, but it's not that big a deal. They got to live too, right? Sam, extreme northeast Ohio. So, I've noticed there's a lot of folks that are from Ohio. I was originally born in Cleveland. So we moved to Florida in 1964. My parents brought me down, and I've been here off and on pretty much ever since. I went away for a while and came back. But it seems like everybody from Pittsburgh is in Florida. Everybody from Ohio is in Florida. I said Pittsburgh, but Pennsylvania. A lot of the snowbirds are down here. Of course, that shouldn't be any real epiphany. I don't know. I should have known better and even say that. Yeah, but the one thing I do notice about the geese and the ducks both, that I'm not so much upset with the amount of mess they make because they don't get on the cars. At least they are on the ground walking around. Now your driveways may be hosed, whatever, but at least they're not on the cars. I've never heard of that place. Cincinnati. Yeah. Well, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I think I am wore out myself, and I got to get my meds and go to bed here before too long, and I'll be up at 4 in the morning. I can't extend my appreciation more than you guys know. The 6 of you that are still in here, and the people that stop by that might watch this later, I just am humbled by the whole experience of this community, and I really want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. I was really discouraged when I started the stream and I didn't see anybody for a while. And I keep forgetting I'm backed up to some other folks. I hate to ask them for another schedule change on the calendar, but I'd rather do that and have you guys come in later and miss out something on something else. Is there anything else that anybody wants to ask or do before we wrap it up? Let's see, that's early to go to bed. It is, but with my Parkinson's, I'm trying to adjust to medicine. I've been having severe nightmares, which is part of the Parkinson's, and that and the lack of smell are two of the big symptoms. It's just a new way of life I'm trying to adjust to, Betty, and it's all going to be good. It's not a big deal. Man, I appreciate it, Blade Walker, and you're an inspiration yourself, sir. Mr. Letterman, I really appreciate it as well. I look forward to seeing you next week. I'll get with you guys through Community Post if you care to look in there. I'm going to try to figure out what to do with the Pew Pew thing if y'all are interested in that. May not be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay too. But I got a lot to offer. You asked me about a topic, and I may know something about it. I don't know if I mentioned I was a ham radio operator, still am. Been doing that since 1977. So I got a lot to bring. Again, I appreciate everybody. I don't have to tell y'all who I am or what channel this is. You already know. And again, it's appreciated beyond belief that you guys have come in and hung out. Y'all have a great week. See you next week. If not sooner, I'm going to be posting. I'm going to try to catch up with G-Ball. I'd like to get to 1,000, guys. Talk me up. I appreciate it. Have a great evening. Bye-bye, everybody. Adios.